again. In this video, I'm going to show you how I make this gnome Christmas ornament. It's pretty easy to make, so this will be fun. And this one I'm going to use a gray color for the beard instead of a white. I've got the yarn cut up in strips about 8 to 9 inches long, and there's probably 80 to 90 of those already cut. And then I've got 2 of the same color that are longer. So they're about twice as long as the strips, and we're going to hold those back. And then for our beanie, I'm going to use this color and also holding back a long strip about 15 inches long of that one as well. And you just need a hook, which I'm going to use a size G or 4.0. I've got a yarn needle. I've got scissors. I'm going to use these scissors because I'm cutting a palm and it's a lot easier to use those than the little bitty scissors. And I also have this bead for the nose, and it's about, I believe it's a 16 millimeter, but it's about 1/2 inch or so in diameter. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is pull out about 10 or 12 pieces or so for our mustache. We're going to try to stuff as many as we can into that little hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a long strand, and then we're going to put about, I'm going to take about 8 or so and see if we can get those through the first go. So I'm just going to fold that over, kind of pull it up over here to this end a little bit, and then I'm going to put this through my yarn needle. Now this is going through the bead. We're just going to draw it up like so. Can let go of the needle. And now we want to pull this through. So we want it one long and one short end. And we want all this to come through the bead. So there we go. Now just even it up a little bit. We got some more room in there. So I'm going to take this long piece that we have and just kind of grab that yarn, pull it down nice and snug. We're going to put that through. I'm going to keep him separate because this is going to be our one that we use to attach it to our little beanie that we make. Now we need a couple more pieces. So we're going to try to get as many as we can in there. So for this one, I'm going to take, I think I can get 2 in there. Just fold it down and pull it tight. Pull those through. Put a couple more in there. We just want it good and snug so it doesn't come out easy. And we keep the 2 long strands that we have separate. And we could probably trim this up a little bit. All right, we're going to set that aside. Now we're going to take the rest of our beard and just make a big palm. Put our long strand under and just tie it up. Make sure you got a good tight knot. Now we got our long strand and we got our shorter stuff. All right, we're going to set that aside. All right, for our beanie, you're going to want to chain 16. So we'll start with a slip knot. And try not to chain too tightly. Now we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So not this one, but this one. Go right in there and we're going to single crochet. Just go in, grab your yarn, pull it through 2. Then we'll go into the next one and we'll do a single crochet. And we're just going to single crochet all the way across our chain row. Then you're going to do a chain, and then you're going to turn your work. So you're going to want to turn it like a page. So you just turn it from right to left this way, because we're going to get into the back loops of that last round. So we're not going into this first one, that's where our work is coming out of. We're going into the next one, so right here. So we keep our yarn nice and snug there. So we're just going into the back loop. I do a single crochet in there. So we're just going to go along the back row, the back loops, and do a single crochet all the way across. Now the important thing is to make sure that you don't lose any stitches or gain any stitches along the way. So we're going to want to make sure that we have 15 all the way across. And so you just want to make sure you're picking up that last stitch right there, and sometimes that gets a little bit buried in there. When in doubt, you just stop and count your stitches. Now you're just going to chain 1, turn, and we're going to do that same thing again. We're not going into that first one where our work's coming out of. We're going to go into the next one right there and get the back loop, and then just go along and do the back loops all the way across. For this one I used 18 rows, and it's going to vary depending on your yarn that you use and the tension in your stitches, but this should be about the right size, and I've got about 5 inches or so. And then you're going to want a nice long tail for sewing up the side. Fold that over. Just kind of lay them side by side. line it up and then just go back and forth. Once you get to the top, you're going to want to tie it off to that end. Like so, and then we want to cinch our top shut, so make sure you look at both sides and see which one you want to be your outside or your inside. In this case, it doesn't really matter, but I think we'll do this on the outside, so, or the inside, so we'll just call this our inside out. And I'm just going to go through a few stitches around the top, like every other row. And just grabbing those stitches all the way around. Till we get back to the beginning here. And then we can just cinch it closed. Tie it up. Next we're going to make a little palm for our beanie, so we'll just grab like a piece of cardboard. This is about 3 inches wide, so I'm just going to wrap it around a few times. So probably about 25 times. Just like we did for the beard. Keep a couple of strands long. And the nice thing about winter is I get these really dry sandpapery hands. And you can makes really great palms. And we're just going to run it down just to the side of the center. So here's our center. We're going to run it right down the side of that. And the other side. We went down here. There's the center, so we'll just go to the other side of the center. Turn it back inside out so we can get it nice and snug. Don't want that palm going anywhere. And now we are going to take our long strand and we're going to put it underneath the center of the beard, like so. keep your ends even, and we're going to tie a knot around there. And then we're going to take this and put it in the hat. So if you're going to put some stuffing in, now is a good time. For the stuffing, I just use a little bit. Put it right in there. And then we're going to grab our moustache. We need to attach that to the hat. So find the back. That's our back. And then I'll just come around to the front. Go right inside the brim about, I'm about an inch in, and I'm just going to find a stitch and put one of the long strands in there. Take the other long strand and go over about 1/2 inch. Just go right up there. Take those two, flip my nose over this way. I want to tie this this way. Tying the knot underneath the nose, and it's just going to kind of grab it and pull it like so. Don't worry about those ends, they're just going to blend in with our beard. Got our stuffing in there, we got our nose on, we got our mustache on, got our palm. Just take our two strands that are wrapped around the beard. Go right up through the middle of the stuffing. And I like to go right behind the palm. Right in the center, right behind the palm. So if we can find our little center hole, that would be best, I think. All right, and then we're just going to pull it up. Make sure everybody's all not tangled. Gonna roll my brim down just a little bit to cover up. You just have a little string there, so if we cover them up, scrunch that down a little bit. Push that down. He's off to the barber shop. So you're just gonna wanna trim him up. Just trim him up the way you like him, and something fun you can do if you're patient enough is take your yarn needle and just kind of twist your yarn so it's kind of straighter. Put your needle in there and just gently, so you don't want to pull it out, pull it through, but if you gently untangle those fibers, And it's easier if the shorter it is, so he might need a trim. If you do that, you're going to want to be a very patient person, because you're not going to want to pull too tight, and you're going to want to take your time. But I did it with some of these, and so it gives it a nice fun little curly effect. But if you don't have the patience, this looks just as good too, I think. One last thing, you might want to tie a little knot on your ends there, as close as you can. Make it nice and long. So there they are. Now stay tuned, because on the next video I'm going to show you how I make this snowman ornament. So until then, we'll see you on another video. Bye!